Andy, Angelica, family, friends. For many thousands of years and across different cultures, people have celebrated significant moments in their lives by gathering together. Rituals such as this play an important part in our lives. Such celebrations help to generate a bond between all those who are present. Do sit down.
Just tell me if I scare anyone.
All right with the couch?
Just about, I think. I'm a bit worried about that side.
All right.
Are you comfortable?
Thank you.
You are all here today to witness and celebrate the union of Angelica Maria Acosta Cardenas and Andrew Lewis Rice. They have chosen each of you to be here because in one way or another you are important in their lives. I know that there are people who have travelled long distances from around the UK to be here, as well as from Spain and from Colombia. Angelica and Andy are really appreciative of the journeys and effort that people have made. But whether from near or far, your presence gives added weight to this ceremony, significance to Andy and Angelica's relationship, and support to their marriage. In the years ahead, as they adapt to changing circumstances, they may turn to any of you for support, help, and friendship. When that happens, your contribution to their life will be richer for having been here today to share in the joy of this occasion. Family is very important to Angelica and Andy. Marriage involves not just two people, but a uniting of two families and two lots of friends. Angelica and Andy are both delighted to become part of each other's families. And I'm sure that with a little help from technology and the odd drop of alcohol, language will not become a barrier to the joining together of family and culture. Salud. It's the first time in England for Angelica's parents, Gustavo and Stella. Y perdona porque hace mucho frío. I'm sure we all wish them a very, very, very warm welcome, despite the fact that the cold must feel extreme to them. Welcome to Angelica's beautiful bridesmaid, her sister Jimena, and also to her equally beautiful
Thank you.
brother-in-law, Jair. Angelica's godparents, William and Maria Eugenia, would have loved to be here. We would have liked them to be watching this on Skype, but technology failed us. But I don't mean that. I mean the Have you got Skype then? Have you got it? No. Okay. Oh no, you're not the one who failed. No, he did. It's not his fault.
Thanks for mentioning it.
Well, anyway, when they get to see the video, hello. Andrew's parents, Betty and Chris, are here today with their other two sons, David and Mick, together with their wives, Helen and Tracy. All of these wonderful kilts represent a strong Scottish connection in the family, even though Betty has lived in England for over 50 years.
Just 50 years.
Andy's Auntie Anne, Uncle Chris and Auntie Kay are all here from Scotland today. Andy's two best men are brother Mick and friend John, also beautiful in their kilts. Andy is godfather to John's daughter Georgia, who's here to enjoy today, together with all those other gorgeous children who walked down the aisle so beautifully for us. As well as family, Andy has a strong, close-knit group of friends who in turn have embraced Angelica and become her friends too. Angelica and Andy have chosen a humanist ceremony because it gives them the opportunity to declare their love and commitment to one another in words and actions that have meaning and significance for them. They want their marriage ceremony to be inclusive to all of you, whatever spiritual and religious beliefs you hold. Angelica has been brought up in the Catholic faith, and as I said earlier, this marriage will be blessed in Colombia. Humanist beliefs rejoice in an individual's right to be free to make their own choices and live their own lifestyle, whilst maintaining a respect for the beliefs and ways of others. We seek to lead happy, fulfilling lives and to help others to do the same. Humanism is concerned with our relationships on a global, local, personal and intimate scale, based on a belief that morality comes from within ourselves and helps us to live together in harmony. The innate capacity of human beings for kindness, unselfishness, and consideration is a framework for a successful marriage. A responsible and loving nurturing of one another within that marriage can help create the conditions for us to be the best that we can be. Angelica and Andy expressed their values with regard to the importance of family, friends, and taking responsibility for their lives. They are very caring people, something that comes naturally to them both. And now I'm going to talk about their journey so far. When I went to Penhall to meet Angelica and Andy to plan this ceremony, I asked them lots of questions, including how they came to be together. Many of you will know their story, but I think it's worth a telling at this very significant time. Andy and Angelica were working for the same company but in different places when in 2011 Angelica went for an interview for a new job in that company. Andy had undertaken to conduct the interview for a colleague who was on holiday. I asked Angelica what her first impressions of him were, but she was actually so nervous and focused on doing well that she didn't see Andy as anything other than the manager who was interviewing her. However, she was impressed that he'd taken the trouble to leave his desk and go out to meet her, as it was a building she hadn't been to before. She remembered and thought that was very kind.
Who could blame me?
Well, Andy's first impression, unsurprisingly, was that this candidate is extremely pretty. Not that you can say that sort of thing at an interview, of course. He was equally impressed with the passion and pride that Angelica expressed in her enthusiasm to do well for the company. He also found it interesting that Angelica spoke of her plans to one day do something back in Colombia with children who have very little. Well, Angelica got the job. Coincidentally, Andy was moved to London, where Angelica was based. I think a nod of thanks to Dave Trotter. Is Dave Trotter here? The boss who unknowingly created that little piece of fate. Well done, Dave.
Right.
Andy and Angelica were both working on a project reviewing processes.
That was his fault again.
That was his fault. Well, there you go, Dave. Something which involved a lot of working late in the office as the winter was drawing in. Angelica kind of began to see Andy as a person, not just a boss. And well, you know how it is.
I've always my handsome looks.
I think the flirting began around the gifts that Andy made out of blue tack. Oh. A dolphin.
Speech now.
Eeyore the donkey. Lots of little tiny things. Items that Angelica has actually kept to this day. So, there they were, working late, surrounded by blue tack love tokens, when along came Christmas. And with it, lots of office parties, mistletoe, sparkle. You've got the idea. Andy and Angelica had fallen in love with each other. Ah. You all right with all this?
Yeah, carry on. Less of the blue tack though, if you can.
In March 2012, they moved in together to High Wycombe, where they stayed for a year. They then moved to Banbury, from where they both have really, really, really long commuting time to and from work every day. It's testament to their desire to be together so much that neither of them chooses to stay away in the week, both preferring to make the arduous journey back home after each working day. They also find time to come back up to the Stoke area to see Andy's family. Although I detect that an even bigger pull, for better or worse, is Stoke City Football Club. Andy's dream of proposing to Angelica didn't quite go to plan. He intended to use the occasion of Mother's Day, when all his nieces and nephews would be gathered. The idea was that they would ask Angelica to be their auntie. That would have been gorgeous, wouldn't it? But Andy hadn't been able to get the ring he wanted, so that didn't happen. Instead, it was a bit of a drunken moment at a 50th birthday party when Andy and Angelica were out in the garden. After he proposed, Angelica's main thought was that it was all very nice, but would he remember in the morning?
I don't know how you can think that of me.
Her worries were unfounded, as the first thing Andy said when he woke up was, "Is it true? Are you going to marry me?" She said yes, and here we all are. Whee! When Andy sought permission of her parents, Angelica had to translate down the phone, but safe to say they were very, very happy.
Oh, yes.
See? I asked Andy and Angelica their aspirations for their shared future together. They hope to have children and a nice home in which to bring them up in a happy, stable environment. They're keen to set down roots, very aware that their priorities are changing. I think it's safe to say that Andy has been a bit of a workaholic. And without wishing to Skyper his career plans, I detect that work will take a more realistic priority in his life in future.
I'll get Dave drunk later. So.
Yeah, you rub that bit out. Another aspiration is that one day Andy and Angelica will fulfill her vision of doing some kind of charity work with children in Colombia. £1 English can buy 3,178 Colombian pesos, and a lot can be done for children who have been orphaned or suffered in some way and never really had very much of their own. Another aspect of their shared future is to spend time with their family and friends, and to take a continued interest in all of the children that they are surrounded by. Including Toby, who actually thinks it's his wedding, I believe. But he's doing fine now. He's got a bit of screen in front of him. We're now coming to the time when our happy couple will express their vows to one another. In talking about these, there was a lot of discussion about the word obey. I'll leave you to decide which one of them thought it a good idea to include that word in the vows and which one would not entertain the idea. Agreement was reached. There'll be no promising to obey.
I decided not to, didn't I?
Would you please stand? Okay. Everything all right down there? So we call upon all present to witness and bless the union of Angelica Maria Acosta Cardenas and Andrew Lewis Rice. Andy, do you promise to love Angelica, respect her and cherish her through life's changing circumstances for as long as you both may live?
I do.
Angelica, prometes amar a Andy, respetarlo y apoyarlo en las circunstancias cambiantes de la vida durante el tiempo que ambos puedan vivir.
Lo prometo.
Angelica and Andy, will you continue to work together to create the married life to which you both aspire? A life that embraces your family and friends, a life that includes fun and laughter, in which